Ethereum.
I loved how you cited before saying Ethereum.
I mean, it's for many people like the favorite cryptocurrency. It remains to this day like the first mover after Bitcoin, of course. Introduction of smart contracts and all that. But like, if you would have asked me, like, what would be my price prediction for Ethereum post Bitcoin halving of
Yeah.
2024, and with these expectations of a golden bull cycle that everyone had, I really believe that, as well with Ethereum ETFs being approved, I really believe that Ethereum would go at least 8,000. It would go at least 10,000, like Ashton Hall would say. But
Yeah. The legend. Yeah, I know, I understand your disappointment, but here's the thing, man. Nobody knew presidents will start dumping on us. I mean, there's like whole economy is dumping on us right now.
yeah,
And
but like,
that's
there's so many factors.
yeah,
especially
I don't
for
want to get
Ethereum.
into the external factors right now, but I still think that there's so much value in crypto,
Yeah.
and uh, token price like ETH, however you pronounce it, it doesn't really represent what's going on behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
You need real companies because the real money is in Web 2. It's always going to be in Web 2 until we get this mass adoption everyone's talking about.
Yes, but for example, Solana, some metrics, it completely surpassed Ethereum on so many levels.
Why?
Well, it was more user friendly in so many levels because first of all, it's cheaper, lower gas fees, uh, faster maybe, and meme coin trends were all going on in Solana. But
Yes.
Ethereum, it's not like Ethereum did not have its share of hype because there so many layer 2s in Ethereum started to get a lot of traction.
Yeah.
Personally, I was a huge supporter of ZK Sync
Yeah.
and even meme coins and other projects within the ZK Sync ecosystem. And at this point, it feels like I got the short end of the stick because they massively underperformed all those approaches with airdrops, and it just made everything worse because only a handful of people made money from
Yeah.
Ethereum, in my opinion. And one of the reasons why the majority did not is primarily these layer 2s. Not only did they screw over people that were real supporters of bringing scalability into
Yeah.
Ethereum, but also because they sort of drained the liquidity and the hype from the layer 1 in itself.
Value as well.
Yeah.
They got all of the value, and that's the issue again in crypto, because many, even the developers right now, they don't see a point in building without getting a lot of money out of it. And I don't blame them, because like, if someone who develops a meme coin in 5 minutes makes a ton of money, why can't you as a super qualified developer, right? But I think that's where we can talk about how funds and how investments happen, like big
Yeah.
investments, not monthly investments like us, not real the retail investments, but institutional ones. That's where we can go in and discuss that, but that's of course a topic for another day. I mean, money is going into projects that have hype, speculative projects, and that's not what blockchain is about. At the end of the day, we're
Yeah.
still on this, not even beta testing the industry and the technology, right? No one's really using the technology for what it is, and that's super concerning.
Yeah, think of it like this is how I like to think of it. If the layer 1, if the main chain of Ethereum was, I don't know, let's say a highway,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden this highway is becoming extremely crowded.
Yeah.
A lot of cars going through that highway,
Yeah.
and you have these layer 2s that would be like secondary roads maybe to get you somewhere, and at the end of the day they would still get into the same location.
Yeah.
That's how the whole finality idea works. But it just feels like people are now skipping the main highway completely because of all these other layer 2s, and I really find it a problem. Even Vitalik himself supports all these layer 2s
Yeah,
publicly as long as they remain very decentralized. But at the same time, it just feels like Ethereum is losing its dominance, not just on the chart level, but also in terms of how many people talk about it.
yeah.
Because maybe it's just my Twitter feed, but it's been a while since I've seen like bullish tweets and bullish
About
narrative on Twitter regarding Ethereum.
now going back to the highway analogy that you used, no one needs 500 side roads
Yeah,
to decongest or uncongest a highway, right? If we had like, okay, 50, let's say, or 20 or 10 or 5, just a lower number, and then focused on promoting those and actually bringing value to the ecosystem as a whole, I would be all up for it.
yeah,
There's so many L2s, man, and it's crazy because most of the projects that I've heard, I didn't even know they were L2s
yeah,
because they don't even promote themselves as L2s anymore. They just exist. They drain liquidity from investors, and then they provide nothing, essentially nothing new, nothing that improves your user experience as a I don't know, crypto enthusiast, and that's scary. But I've heard about this concept called alternative L1s.
yeah.
I did some research. I don't understand it a bit, but we have a guest, Luis Ramirez. He's from Gear Foundation. They have this whole alternative L1 project that they're building, but they're focusing on developers because we need more developers, more ideas, more innovation, basically. And he's gonna help us basically understand what the whole logic and concept is behind alternative L1s.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about this because I do believe it will be refreshing in terms of what he, what insights he provides, and how to bring Ethereum back to its dominance as
Yeah.
it used to have, for example, in the 2021 cycle. Not that we're going to have any bull cycle anytime soon,
Yeah.
from the looks of it, but
No, I'm still bullish on November. I don't know. I like November when it comes to crypto, not anything else. But yeah, I mean, let's not waste any more time and let's get on the call with Lewis. Okay, hello Lewis. How is everything?
Hey, hello. All good, thank you. How about you?
Well, it's going well. It's going well. Me and my friend, we were discussing about L2s and how they're basically driving this value out of Ethereum. And I know because I know your project, I did a little bit of research, and I know that you guys are working on driving that same value back to Ethereum, right? To the core of basically smart contracts and everything. But before we get into everything technical, right? I just want to ask you for a very short and concise explanation on the term alternative L1 because um, I did some research. Me and Dran both we did some research, but it's quite complicated from some people who are not like into the dev side.
Okay. Hello everybody. I'm Luis Ramirez, head of the Real at Ear Foundation, and I would like to start like starting with my point of view about layer one, layer two, but why layer one and why give protocol and all this, right? We know this is an alternative technology to build applications with better conditions for the internet. I will say this way. Blockchain in general provides something really nice in terms of opportunities to everybody around. This is something really good compared to traditional technology, right? I am a software developer and I've been in this space around 19 years old. I have seen many things. I've built different products, and I realized that blockchain is really something really nice to build But in the process, we know the evolution of the blockchain, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Layer 2, and so on. Something was missing because we don't have developers. Less, we are not too much developers in the ecosystem. Giving you a number, we have around 31 million developers around the world in all the programming languages, Java, Python, Swift, R, Rust, whatever, you name it. 31 million compared to 15,000 developers in blockchain. It's nothing. So we're still early, and we say this the last years, but we're still early in terms of products, in terms of developers. That's why Gear started this movement years ago with Nikolai, our founder. He was working on Parity, and Parity is the company behind the Polkadot ecosystem, right? Then Nikolai realized that this technology that we were building, called Substrate, it was a game changer because it provides a way to create the blockchains in a modular way for developers, so you can create something really fast, not from scratch. What is the what is this possibility now that we have Substrate? Well, anybody can build a blockchain, and now then, if we focus blockchain for developers, for Web2 developers, it will be easier for somebody that is building whatever and the traditional way to come into Web3. That's why Gear Foundation and Gear Technology started the Gear Protocol. This is a technology that uses Substrate as a core and with improvements, so you can use the programming language that you already know, because we use Wasm, which is a technology that supports different programming languages. But okay, like in this point, it's like we're trying to build something better in terms of composability, speed, security, and all this. Then we need to focus on the best programming languages, tooling, and so on. That's why we choose Rust as programming language. And something interesting here is Rust is a low-level programming language. It means that developers can use memory. Memory management is one of the tricky things when you are using a programming language. Then you need to make it easier for the developers in order so they can come to build some applications with Rust. This is a big challenge, and Gear Protocol builds three. It's built on top of three pillars: actual model, persistent memory, and WebAssembly. But the developers, they only need to understand the basic concepts of programming in order to come and build in Rust. They don't need to be expert on blockchain. They don't need to be expert on Rust. They only need to understand the basics of programming. And that's why we have VAR network. Now that you have the protocol, the technology, and if you can provide this new ecosystem, a layer one is not only technology, right? It's also governance, it's also tokenomics. Then this is a layer one using Gear protocol called VAR network. It's scalable, fast, and gives the opportunity to developers to build something really, really fast. That was the beginning, and then we realized that it's okay. It works pretty good technology, and what if we can take this technology and move it to Ethereum? I mean, at the same time, we have layer one, but the core of this technology, we use it on Ethereum to solve the scalability problem. That is Gear.exe. Parallel data processing on Ethereum. So, for example, what is the current problem that Ethereum face? Scalability will know that. This is the reason why many layer twos started in this Polygon, Arbitrum, CK Sync, Base, you name it. We have a lot good technology, but different kind of problems. Also, not it's not everything about scalability. Talking about blockchain, we know that we talk about decentralization, for example. We talk about security. We talk about different technical aspects, but different other not technical aspects that we need to cover. One of this is the TVL. When we talk about to bring all the users together in one blockchain, but we create an alternative way to solve the scalability problem. But we move these users to another ecosystem. You just connect it with Ethereum. Well, that is the fragmentation problem that we have nowadays with layer twos. Gear.exe is not a blockchain. Gear.exe is a decentralized compute network. What it means, we are ready to process smart contracts that if you process it on Ethereum, it will be slow and expensive. So the developers can say, okay, I want to create my decentralized application on Ethereum, but I want to make it cheaper and I want to make it faster, but decentralized. All this together, then we just move the processing stuff into Gear.exe network, and the result is coming back to Ethereum. That's basically how it works. Gear.exe, which is not a layer two, is not even a blockchain. We don't create accounts for the users. We just focus on the processing using the actual model persistent memory into Ethereum.
Well, I have to say I'm pretty impressed by everything you've said so far because I think one of the issues in today's, industry is that a lot of people feel intimidated by the idea that blockchain tends to be really complicated, and I really like the fact that Gear Technology is making it easier for builders and developers to basically have it easier to deploy applications and all that, which I think is crucial for mass adoption. And Atis and I were discussing earlier how all these layer 2s, as good as they are in terms of providing scalability, in terms of making transactions cheaper and all that, still it did not have that kind of an impact as everyone would have wanted. So I've been following your ecosystem, and I've also seen that in your tweets, for example, you often challenge and critique some of these layer twos. So, what kind of future do you see instead for layer twos? Do you see companies trying to get more of an approach that Gear Technology has, or do you see layer twos kind of being more consolidated, or what do you think?
Yeah, well, I don't know if the right word is to criticize. Maybe it's like to highlight. But technology is good. This is something I want to start. It's not like layer twos are bad in terms of technology. They solve a problem without a doubt. But also we can make it better in terms of compatibility. This is a key point here. For example, we have different layer twos with different technologies, programming languages, EVM, not EVM, bridges, and everything. And I guess that if we want to join to this technology together, like Ethereum is the biggest layer one in terms of ecosystem developers, Solidity. We don't have any other ecosystem with more developers because first it was the first years ago, right? The invention of a smart contract, it was because of Solidity and EVM, and now we have a huge ecosystem. But something that we're trying to focus that layer twos are not is solve the problem that Ethereum has, and this is scalability, just like this. But avoiding to have more problems for the user, to bring more problems for the user, because if blockchain as it is not easy for new people. Download a wallet, get the tokens, understand concepts, new concepts every day. Then the transition to this into the adoption, into the mass adoption that we want, it's it's getting more complicated. Then we just need to focus on solving the problems that we have, and abstracting all these concepts. So that's exactly what Gear.exe is doing. You don't need to care about complexities. You need to care about only developing your solution. Even we're just now working on toolings, like for example, everybody is building AI agents nowadays and using LLMs to create something faster. Well, we are building a tooling so developers can create smart contracts based on the prompt. Uh, you don't even care now to understand everything about your program. You can just say, create a smart program that solves this, and give all the details. You will have a Rust program ready to go. And yeah, of course, if you need to update something, improve, uh, you need to understand Rust, but it's gonna make it easier and faster for developers.
Okay, so you mentioned fragmentation, right? And Web3 right now is probably way more fragmented and divided than it was like 4 years ago. It keeps getting more divided and more divided. And to me, as someone who has been here for at least 5 years now, I think that we're moving away from onboarding basically retailers and I mean, you mentioned mass adoption. It's getting more complex and more complicated. I understand that like blockchain as it is a very complicated technology. And with programs as Gear.exe and with your approach that you're using, I think we're moving forward a better future basically for blockchain. Maybe it will take time, I'm not sure, but this is the approach that I like. However, let's talk onboarding now. When it comes to pitching this idea and pitching this project basically to Web2 developers, how do you go about it? What's the basically the selling point of the project?
Okay, it's interesting, and I like a lot this one because I'm coming from Web two. I started years ago in Web two, the traditional web, right? The traditional internet, and I explain and the way that we create applications. Just forget Web one, Web two, Web three. Just create an application. You build in any programming language, and you need a server, and you need users, and you need the front end. You need some specific components in order so the developers can create application and users consume this application. Okay. Traditional way, you need to have your server in order to mount your technology as a server, or you can rent a VPS, Amazon, Azure, Google Cloud, whatever. I use Linux. I really like a lot this one when I use VPS. And you pay monthly to have this VPS up and running, right? Then you are all set. You have your application up and running as a web developer, and your users will interact with your application. That's it. You pay your VPS. Focus on this. As a developer, you pay for something because this server is not yours. Even if you have a physical server, you pay for it. You pay energy, you pay the space, you pay the computer, you pay. Okay. When we move to Web3, one approach that I like to compare is like you will pay also for processing, okay? But you are not paying a BPS, you are paying gas fees. And this is something interesting that Vara and Gear.exe provide to the developers because we use reverse gas model. It means like the end user, they don't need to care about gas fees. For them, it doesn't exist gas fees. The developers, the creators of the applications, they need to care about gas fees, but they can pay upfront using our reverse gas model. So what is this? Instead of paying for BPS, they are paying for gas fees. And you can compare like this because at the end you are paying money as a developer to have your server up and running. But in blockchain, you build your smart contract, you build your decentralized application, you send it to the blockchain, and when your user interact with your application, you will pay the gas fee. That's why it's important that you focus on your business model. Okay? And for your business model, you care about what is the gas fee that I need to pay, how many transactions a user per day will do, how many transactions per month, what service will I give, and how will I get money back? Because of course this is important. I can get money like one payment per month, $1, $10. The user will pay to interact with my application, but I pay only $1 in gas fees. Then the another $9 can be to pay salaries, and you create your business model. And then at the end, it's kind of the same. You just need to keep in mind this, and you can start. Of course, if you want to create more sophisticated applications, you need to understand pretty much blockchain validators, nominators, gas fees, rewards, APY, and all these concepts that we know in blockchain. But it depends on your business model.
Yeah, so now that I think about it, I mean, this whole idea of gasless interaction sounds like ideal for DeFi, for example, decentralized finance, and but not just DeFi. And so this is where I wanted to stop a bit and ask, what kind of decentralized apps are actually live right now on Vara? Or, like, are there any success stories or cool experiments that have started to receive traction over the recent weeks?
Yeah. Absolutely. We have different applications. It's important to mention something like many of these applications are running on testnet, and some of these applications are running on mainnet. Why? Because now we are preparing launching the launch of the bridge with Ethereum, so we can just integrate different assets between Ethereum and Vara, and we need to have it in order to launch our DeFi ecosystem in mainnet. But you can try it. For example, Guardian Protocol, it's our liquid staking protocol. You can try also Bstreet. It's lending and borrowing protocol. We're working with some dexes. I cannot name it now because of some legal stuff. But we will say we will post it in our official social media soon. Then just stay tuned about this. And different other protocols I like to share with you, like for example, Gaia. I like it a lot. This project, Gaia EcoTrack, is energy tokenization project, which basically create a new business model with renewable energy and peer-to-peer markets, but also providing certificates and a new business model for the people that already use this kind of energy. Gaia is working on Vara, and also Gaia is waiting for our DEX in order to launch their own token. So this is interesting, like the transition when we started and when we are moving now to mainnet with more possibilities for the projects that are building on Bar and Gear.exe, of course. Gear.exe is going to launch in Q3 of this year. Now we have an internal testnet. Soon we'll launch official testnet, public testnet, and after we will be ready for mainnet. But so far, with you can try mainnet and testnet in Vara, and all different projects that we already have.
So another question I wanted to ask, because I'm really curious about it, because for example, traditional L2s, they tend to have a problem, for example, with the finality. They still need to be confirmed, in the Ethereum chain. And in some applications, for example, gaming, where you need near instant confirmation, for example, and I saw that Gear Technologies also has like a gaming as a big focus area. So why do you think Gear would be ideal for fully on-chain games? Because both Atis and I are gamers, and it's a subsector of crypto that we really look forward, about in the future.
Yeah, this is something really interesting about finality, because you are right. When you are using gaming, you need to care about the speed and finality. Gear.exe is 1,000 times faster than Ethereum in terms of transactions, and also the finality. It's really fast to complete in order to process all this in not only in gaming but in DeFi and other ecosystem that needs this kind of technology and speed. But also something I like to share is that we are not completely into the TPS world, because blockchain is not about how fast is your blockchain, because when we're moving to this direction, then we can see layer twos with centralized sequencer. Then they are giving scalability. They are super fast, but we're losing the centralization. Then I guess that in this world, in blockchain, we need to focus to keep in mind the equilibrium between scalability, decentralization, and security. At the end, is the trilemma that all the blockchains are trying to solve, right? Then, yeah, it's important because, okay, we cannot say that Gear EXE is the fastest decentralized compute network, for example, but I could say that it provides the best speed, decentralization, and security. Then this is like the best way that we like to compare when we participate in different talks with different blockchains. Everybody is doing a great job, so we're focused on solving the best way to have all of them in the best position.
Perfect. So another question, and I'm probably gonna be going back to what we talked about until now, but we've talked about the trilemma, right? There's this trilemma where projects are not entirely sure where to focus and what to fix first, because there's many issues in the blockchain space. But why do you think it's been quite a lot of time since we've got introduced to smart contracts, and I think we've hit this challenge where we're literally the whole industry is not producing or creating anything new. There's no innovation anymore. Why do you think that is?
Um, I guess it's because of the pollution of the technology as it is. Because, for example, we have this trilemma because we cannot process the transactions as fast in a decentralized environment. This is like the answer to this, because we already have centralized solutions. They are super fast, controlled by one company, and you cannot do anything. That's why blockchain was burned years ago, right? Because we want to control what we're doing in this environment. Okay, now that we have this technology, it's not like so easy to solve everything that we want. Not even in blockchain. It's in general different decentralized environments. Like, for example, it comes to my mind Solid, this decentralized platform that Tim Berners-Lee, the creator of the internet, the World Wide Web, started years ago also to provide a solution for the ownership and privacy, and it's decentralized also. But we can even put like the more resources that we have nowadays, and it's gonna be slower compared with centralized applications, because here we need to work with validators and the consensus. Then to synchronize this, the information generating blocks, closing blocks, finality, and all this. It's more complicated to solve in a decentralized and distributed system than in a centralized where you control everything. Who is right, who is wrong, you decide it. In blockchain, I guess that this is, personally, I like it a lot. We don't need to trust. We trust in the system. We trust in the computers. If it's open source, if we can work with developers that understand what is happening, and then we're sure that we're using a good technology for us. I guess that this is one of the reasons why we have not yet the final, like the Ethereum killer.
Yeah.
Really speed, really decentralized, really secure, because the technology as it is, we have a challenge, but we are in that direction to show the different kind of technologies also.
Yeah, since you mentioned Ethereum killer, do you think, since like blockchain is here to basically, the goal is to take over, right? I know this is out of topic, and if you don't feel comfortable to answer, it's okay. But do you think going against a project like Ethereum killers went against Ethereum, do you think that's okay? Because at the end of the day, it's business, right? We all understand that. But aren't we here to build a better internet, Web3, basically the next generation of the internet?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what will happen. I have my own theories. Let's see what is happening in the next year, but I believe that we won't have an Ethereum killer at all. We will work with different protocols. That was how we have internet now. TCP/IP, the two main protocols behind our internet. It was not like it is nowadays. We had in the past days, in the past years, different other protocols separated, different networks working in a separate way, and at the end, one single protocol started what we know as internet, with many other application protocols like HTTP, FTP, and many others. I guess that blockchain will have exactly the same evolution. Like we have Ethereum, we have Solana, we have Sui, Aptos, Vara, you name it. We have a lot, and each one is trying to solve one specific problem. Like everybody is in blockchain, right? But I like a lot. Like one a project is quantum resistant, for example. One project is pretty fast. One project is pretty decentralized. One project is pretty secure and privacy and a lot of features. Then I believe that in the next years, only few projects will alive, and the future is how to integrate everything. Like we have Polkadot, for example. I guess Polkadot is a really nice technology that is trying to solve this since the beginning. It was even the evolution of Ethereum in terms of scalability and security, connecting different blockchains to have. We don't have now in the time that Polkadot can say, "I did it." It was an idea of Gavin Woods, and nowadays he's working on this Jam project to provide an Amazon Web Service decentralized, something like this. But I guess that all the people that really they are building something good in blockchain will be the people that will provide the best technology to have this new generation, this new internet with the opportunities that we're awaiting.
Yeah, and I also believe that builders are the one that are going to last and survive despite any downturns or whatever economy brings. But my question now is because there have been thousands of projects and even millions of tokens and stuff, and I saw that Gear Technology primarily tries to target maybe developers because that's who their user base will be. But in this day and age, I do believe that, for example, you have to dumb things down a bit in order to onboard normies because even the most technical projects, they try to make these stupid giveaways and all that in order to just bring as many users. Do you think that is important, for example, for you guys, or do you think, or what are the challenges that you guys have found so far in terms of making sure that you are also to onboard normies? Because at the end of the day, that's the majority of the market right now. I mean, with all these meme coins and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You're right when you say that we work a lot with developers because they are our focus. We want them to we want to have developers to build in the Vara. That's that's right. But we're also working with community. For example, we have Bar Arts, which is a movement that we have to work with artists. We have a Bar Edu. We work with universities. We have done different hackathons in different parts of the world with universities. And those are the normies, right? Like the people that, well, some of them are technical, but some of them are not technical. They are just learning what is this blockchain, what the possibilities can bring. And yeah, we work with different kind of communities, and of course it's important. You don't have a good project if you don't have a good community. It doesn't matter that you are building the best tech in the blockchain. If you don't have community, nobody will use, nobody will spread the word about your project. But you mentioned also something interesting, like this ecosystem is really risky because you can find a project that they're building nothing, but they are giving airdrops, they are giving a lot of stuff to pump the token, and at the end, sadly for the community, it could be a rock pool or another project like this. And yes, that's why we need to be aware about what we're doing. Do your own research and all this, the same stuff that we always need to say to the community, and before you start your journey into a project as an investor or something.
Okay, so the thing is, I did my research, but I've never heard of Vara education, so I'm gonna go through that immediately after the episode. So just for the listeners and the watchers, can you like give a like 30-second or a 1 minute explanation of like, is the content written, is it like video content, and how do you think this will help like onboard the developers? Because we're focusing on onboarding developers right now, since as we said before, we love builders, and you pointed out yourself that there's a lack of builders in the space. All the value goes to meme coins, and we want people to realize that that's not the future, right? The future is actually building something worth using. I mean, I'm not gonna use a dog meme coin in real life. It's just for the speculation of it all. So, how do you think VAR education is helping your project?
Yeah, well, basically we focus on blockchain, not in crypto. Crypto is one of implementation of blockchain, but we have different stuff that we can build on top of blockchain. This is like the best technology that we have so far. I will say that this is the best invention that we have in this century because we can provide to the humanity new opportunities, and this is for real. I like to say that decentralization is real in the technical side, but sometimes it's not real in the human side because we are trying to provide DAOs and different ways to control in a better way or organization and whatever. But at the end, the human is failing. But it's not failing the technology. Bitcoin is here and it has been and it will be. So yeah, just focus on the basis about how is it work, how does it work blockchain, and what can we do to create something to solve a real problem. I guess that for me this is the best way to start with the developers. What's your idea, what do you want to build, and after all the process that we do with all of them with our Gear Academy and different smart contracts that we already have for them.
Okay, perfect. So, for the end, to conclude everything, this is a more general question again. Uh, we've discussed, me and Dren, we've discussed quite a lot of times about the state of the market. It's been the same for 4 months now. 2025 was not good. Do you think? I mean, I know you're a developer and you like the technical side, but do you think the market is gonna perform well by the end of the year? This is not financial advice, by the way. Just a prediction, your own prediction.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I hope so. To be honest, I've never seen in crypto something like this in the past years.
Same.
This year, it's insane. Like meme coins, the presidents rug pulling the people, Melee, Trump. I've never seen this before, and yeah, it's pretty sad. I just read every day projects that are saying I cannot do it anymore,
Yeah,
but I understand why, because in these markets you need to have money in order to pay the people in your project.
exactly.
And if you are living in this market, it's kind of complicated. Then I've seen different projects, like for example, Faber, the mix between different social media, social distributed social media, yeah, in the crypto, Lens protocol with other technologies together. Now it's not working anymore because they are running out of money. Pretty sad. And not only this project, different projects are doing exactly the same in this market. I hope for for the best of the market that this situation ends.
Yeah.
Please stop rug pulling presidents. Don't do that. It's not nice for the people, and it's more complicated for us that we are working with developers, because I saw statistics about the GitHub, and the Web3 ecosystem, and nowadays in this year is the lowest in the past 5 years. So the developers are going away from crypto because they say like, okay, now it's pretty clear that this is a scam.
Yeah.
I will go to build my next Facebook, this my next centralized Facebook. Yeah, sad. This is pretty sad because blockchain works. The centralization inside the technology, it works. Protocols works. We just need to show with real use cases that blockchain is here to stay. But it will stay. It doesn't matter what people say. It will stay. But I hope that in this year the market will uh, return back to bull market, or
We hope.
Yeah.
We hope.
a little bit better.
I mean, it could be like this recent downturn. It could be a blessing in disguise because it filters out all the bad players and all these scammers, and hopefully even all these presidents that are rug pulling their citizens. But yeah, we would like to wrap it up here. Louis, we really appreciate you allocating some time to join us today for this episode, and we hope all the best for Gear Foundation, and let's supercharge Ethereum.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation. Have a great day. See you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, Luis. Lovely chat with Luis.
Yeah, and as much as we try to be optimistic about Ethereum, it hasn't been that great of a couple of years now. But these initiatives, I mean, could really, as Gear Foundation says, supercharge Ethereum, because L2s, as good as they are in theory, haven't really been that good, in my opinion, in terms of keeping the king of altcoins at bay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally understand that, and I think because I'm getting deeper into the technical side of crypto, I never wanted this to be the case, but it's a must, right? You have to explore that as well. I think the statistics of crypto users, the ones that we've been onboarding for the past 2 and 3 years, most of them are literally meme coin people. I mean, they're normies still. They don't understand a single thing about crypto. And then comes another thing when onboarding and mass adoption for most people is just using crypto as a means of payment.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. And that's not even the goal of crypto. That's the goal of Bitcoin maybe, but not crypto. And Ethereum, as much as I had this FUD about Ethereum, I still think it's never going to be overtaken by any of these so-called Ethereum killers. I love Solana as well. I love many different Ethereum killer projects, but Ethereum is Ethereum, right?
Yeah.
It's basically the founder of everything. So yeah, that's basically it for this episode.
Yeah, and let's hope for the best for Ethereum.
Yeah, let's hope it doesn't fall under $1,000 per coin. We love you and see you next episode.